Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. Today we are continuing the NBA team previews. I'm gonna give it just a couple seconds to let people get in. I know some people expected to be here. I posted the tweet up top over on Twitter for people who want to join the YouTube comment section. It's posted there for you guys. We won't take too much time, but two interesting teams again today. Breaking these teams down. It's crazy to think. I posted it earlier. There's only 6 teams left. After the day, we only have 4 teams left that we're doing a team preview for. So interesting times to say the least, man. Interesting times. We had a lot of NBA media days. If people are paying attention to just what's going on with the media with these teams. Definitely some interesting things going on for sure with all the teams, not just 2 teams we're going to talk about today, but with all the teams for sure. So today we'll get into the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then after the Oklahoma City Thunder, we'll talk about the Boston Celtics, which I know is that maybe the team that's getting the most publicity right now based on everything that's going on with their organization. Them and the Phoenix Suns, of course. So it's not good publicity either. It's definitely not good publicity. But I see my guy Finesse in the building. He probably got his green on. Want to talk about his Boston Celtics. But yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there for sure. Let's just go ahead and jump into it, man. I know a lot of people get here late. Which is totally fine. You definitely can catch the replay over on YouTube if you guys jump in late. But let's go ahead and get it started, man. I'm not into wasting people's time for sure. Y'all know I'm trying to get in and get out. Let's start over with the Thunder. So quick recap real quick before we get there for the people who are new. So these team previews are just a quick highlight of what's transpired in the offseason for each one of these teams. I'll be discussing additions and subtractions, a recap of last season, expectations for this up-and-coming season as well. And then, of course, I'm doing this to bring people up to speed, kind of refresh memories of what's happened over the last year, clarify roster moves, and last but not least, to make people better informed gamblers, right? We want to be better informed better. So when the season starts, we get the ground running, right? I always say if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. So, that's a big part of it as well. 2 teams per day. Yesterday, we did the Milwaukee Bucks and the Portland Trail Blazers. On Sunday, we did Detroit Pistons and the Memphis Grizzlies. Tomorrow, we got the Orlando Magic and the Phoenix Suns. So that's going to be another interesting one tomorrow as well. Then on Thursday, we'll wrap up with the Houston Rockets and the Miami Heat. And on Friday, we get preseason basketball. The Washington Wizards and the Golden State Warriors are probably already there, I'm guessing, on their way to Japan to get ready for that game on Friday. So not really sure when that's going to take off. But we also get some more preseason games in a different country. I know the Atlanta Hawks are traveling. I forgot who they're playing, but they're going to play in Abu Dhabi. Forgot who they're playing, but I watched that in their media day as well. But with no further ado, like I said, let's just jump into it, man. Let's jump into it. First team up. Let's go out west first. Then we'll come back. We'll come back east. Let's talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. So the Oklahoma City Thunder over the offseason, they re-signed Lou Dort. They gave him the money that I feel like he deserves. 5-year, $87 million contract. Mike Muscala also returned on a deal. But with that being said, they didn't make any other moves. Sam Presti, the GM over there, is somebody that's extremely patient. He definitely knows how to draft talent. We've seen that with some of the draft picks that he's taken over the course of his tenure there. And I don't have to name those guys. I think you guys probably know. So there's definitely some belief just around his drafting scheme. Unfortunately for them, another addition was Chet Holmgren, who was hurt in the Pro-Am game this offseason. So those are really the only additions. What that should tell you is that this team that finished last in the Western Conference last year will probably finish last or close to last in the Western Conference again this year. No major subtractions at all. Last season, this team finished 24 and 58, which was last in the Northwest Division, 4 games ahead of the Rockets, who had the worst record in the league. Towards the second part of the season, we saw this team, just rest guys, kind of tank so they could get to that number 1, number 2 overall pick, and it worked. What didn't work is the luck, because like I said, Chad got hurt. over in Seattle, which is where this team originated from, which is, interestingly enough. But they do bring back Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Like I said, they re-signed Lou Dort. There's Baisley's there, Josh Giddey. So they definitely have some talent that they're looking to develop. But with that being said, it's really just going to be it's going to be a developmental season for this team. The injury to Chet Holcomb happened in August during the Pro-Am game. Like I said, he landed weirdly on his right foot. I think he was trying to chase LeBron down to block his shot. This injury will keep him out for the whole season as well. So that's a guy who's going to be, starting his sophomore year, trying to win Rookie of the Year probably. So that's something interesting to keep in mind because he will not play throughout this year and probably just be looking to get right probably next year around this time. GM Sam Presti also had a quote where he said, I was reading through some of the stuff. He said, "No one knows how this season is going to go. Save your predictions, burn your assumptions. There are no facts about the future." While I feel like Presti, there's some truth in that statement. One thing we can predict is that the Oklahoma City Thunder won't be great. We could pretty much bank that one. I do not anticipate this team to be good, and I don't think that's a bold prediction at all. This team is still young. They're extremely inexperienced, and this will be another year of development for this team. Like I said, they finished 24-58 last year. Projected win total this year is 24.5. I think Vegas got this number right. Just based on their strength of schedule, they're predicted to have the most difficult schedule of any team. I see some sites have them ranked as second. So either way, you get the most difficult schedule or the second most difficult schedule. Because of that, I have no real strong opinion for the Oklahoma City Thunder and their projected win total. I think that because they did everything that they could to not win games on the second half of the season last year, they still end up getting to 25 wins, right? Presti says that they'll be better this year, which means that I think he'll actually try to play his guys, most of the time during the second half of the season, even though it's just a rebuild season. But I got to take that with a grain of salt because I could see this team tanking again towards the end of the season, shutting their guys down. I don't know if you guys remember, they had guys that nobody had ever heard of last year on this team. Like it was like multiples, like it was like 4 or 5 guys in the rotation on a nightly basis. You was like, who? Where they get him from? Right? Like guys you can't even bet on last year. And if you were betting NBA, heavy like we were last year in the spaces, then you probably remember some of these guys. So I would probably look to fade a win total. Just kind of not even fade, but stay off a win total that's 24.5, like with them winning 25 games last year. I think they could stumble upon 25 wins, just catching some teams on second night of back-to-backs. They are young and they're hungry. They probably want to prove themselves. They also get a year of development under their belt too, right? So I'm not saying, of course, I'm not saying that they're gonna make the playoffs, but I do anticipate this team to win some games. Or they could go in tank mode, which is why I'm totally off for the win total at all. Those are just my thoughts on what I'm thinking as it relates to the Oklahoma City Thunder. If anybody got anything, I don't even know if I had any Oklahoma City Thunder fan in the spaces last year. But if you're an Oklahoma City Thunder fan and you want to speak on your team, definitely request up because I want to hear from you. And I will definitely give you the floor and let you share your thoughts and your opinions on these Oklahoma City Thunder. Let me see if I can get my guy. Finesse up. Finesse got some thoughts on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Finesse, what's going on, my brother? How you doing, man? If you free, come off mute and share your thoughts on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, it was good, bro. Appreciate you. Like a lot of what you said, obviously, tough break in the offseason. The guy that they wanted, that fell to them, they got, and super tough injury. But yeah, I'm not really a big futures better. Would I be more interested? I think they're gonna spread. Moving forward in the season, like you said, young. Trust and press. And by the word pressure, I don't mean some motivation of winning that organization. So if I had to lean, I would lean over like you would. I think you said it perfectly. I think they can stumble upon those 25 wins, but I think they were again gonna see a lot of large spreads like we did last year. I think they're gonna be dominant against the spread like they were last year again. So I look forward to that. I think they're gonna be fun to watch. They're gonna score a lot of points. They're gonna give up a lot of points. So definitely value. Them teams like the Pacers, teams who made a shit ton of money off last year. Thunder was one of them as well. Whether you're taking them against the spread, taking overs, or whatever team totals, I think it's going to be another one of those seasons for the Thunder. So a lot of money to be had with this team. I think they'd be exciting, but like you said, their guys coming back next year. Maybe they get another top 5, top 10 pick. So definitely not going anywhere big, but I think they'll be fun to watch. And money to be made with them.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's an interesting point too, Finesse. I forgot to even add that to my notes, but this was a team that cashed ATS wise, and it's so funny Finesse mentioned that. I remember last year, I forgot who this team was playing against. They were playing against a really good team out of the Eastern Conference, and I remember that team having it might have been Atlanta. I think it was Atlanta Hawks on a night when Atlanta had to travel to Oklahoma City Thunder on the second night of a back-to-back, and it was a crazy point spread because they were playing all the bench guys. And I think Ronald jumped in the chat and said that he had some support for backing the Atlanta Hawks. And it was an ugly spread, like minus 15 and a half. And he took the plus 15 or something like that. And we talked about how ugly that play was, but it ended up cashing and it didn't look good. They went down big early, but they fought back and they definitely covered the point spread. And I think they almost won that game outright. So yeah, like Finesse said, even with the ugly teams, and I've been talking about this in the spaces in general, even with the ugly teams, there's still opportunities to cash because they will be disrespected. The markets for them to cover point spreads will be, it'll be a large gap, a really, really large gap this year. So like Finesse said, a lot of money can be made specifically on the points, just on the point spread, but taking the player props too, especially if you're into watching Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't know if I will be into watching them too often, but on certain nights I might check them out. And if you find a guy that has value, even if it's on that night based on the rotation, based on some inside information that you find, beat writer, based on availability of other players, you definitely can cash. So that's something to kind of keep in mind as well. If nobody else has thoughts and opinions on the Oklahoma City Thunder, which I didn't anticipate a lot of people rushing up here to speak on them, I'm gonna transition over to the Boston Celtics. So let's go to Boston. Let's go to Beantown. If you're over on YouTube, you see I'm actually in the garden right now. I'm actually sitting there, suite section. If you're checking the video out. So let's start with this. So additions for the Boston Celtics. This team has so we get some Monty downplays Aiden Beef. Oh god, I can't wait to watch that when I'm done. But yeah, we got some breaking news coming too, man. It's crazy we get to preview the Phoenix Suns, so that's gonna be definitely one you guys want to tune in for tomorrow. But yeah, back to the Celtics. So additions. They signed Gallinari to a 2-year deal. Unfortunately, he tears his ACL, MCL during EuroLeague play this offseason. But then you also bring in a guy like Malcolm Brogdon via trade from the Pacers that I'm extremely high on. I've always been extremely high on this guy. Used to watch him play right in Virginia at UVA, which is about 20 minutes away from where I am. Love this guy under Tony Bennett. Love what he does in the NBA. 3-and-D / get to the rim type guy who just brings it every single night. Takes no possession off, works hard. So yeah, I like Brogdon a lot. You don't lose a lot either. The Boston Celtics didn't lose a lot at all. Daniel Tice was traded in the deal that bought Brogdon over. So you don't lose much. And then as far as this last season recap, we know that this team went extremely deep all the way to the finals before losing to Golden State, even after winning game 1. We talked about this a lot in the spaces, especially in the playoffs. They were just young and inexperienced at the time as far as being able to get to this point. And I think that you hear them talk about it, not in the media day, but just in their conversations over the summer. I know Jason Tatum talked about it, Jaylen Brown talked about it a lot. Just their ability not to be able to close out games. And those extra games that went game 7 that should have been closed off in 6, those all kind of caught up with this team. And you see them kind of run out of gas, turn the ball over a little bit more than they were, not able to bounce back when they were covering spreads after a loss every single game in the playoffs last year. All those things kind of caught up with this team towards the end of the season in the finals. Eastern Conference Finals, they beat Boston in Game 7, and like I said, go on to lose to Golden State in Game 6. When the first one lost, in Game 6. So the other thing to note, though, is the injury to Robert Williams. We saw him be limited throughout the playoffs. All of the playoffs, but the guy was a human pogo stick. Career high in rebounds, career high in points last year, career high in blocks last year. And that injury has still kind of lingered. And that was, I don't think that was expected to linger as much. Initially, I saw the reports about 4 weeks ago, that he was going to miss 1 to 2 months after having that surgery. Then the reports came out that he's now more so than likely going to miss 2 to 3 months after the knee procedure. What he does for the defense is tremendous, right? So that's something to kind of take into consideration. You get a lot more unders when guys like Robert Williams play, because he affects the game tremendously on the defensive side of the ball. If not even in the playoffs, but if you were just watching this team, he's a guy that definitely impacts the game in a big way. As other offseason notes, I haven't even mentioned this one yet, but we know what happened with Udoka being suspended for the entire season due to unwanted comments made to a female coworker, right? So how does that impact the team? Do the Boston Celtics buy in and listen to this new coach, Mazzulla, I think is his name? I know that if you paid attention to the media day yesterday for the Boston Celtics, a big part of what he said his goal is to make sure that this team stays focused and they buy in. He wants to make sure that everybody's on the same page, from himself all the way down to the last guy that's that's coming off the bench. So it's going to be interesting to see what his command is. We know that, this team had some turmoil towards the middle of the season last year. If you remember, Marcus Smart came out and made the comments that, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown pretty much need to pass the ball. And then it seemed like after that happened, things kind of transpired into what we saw. The defense ramped up a lot. They were able to get out in transition, get some easy baskets, and they started playing a lot more unselfishly. And that that just translated into win after win after win after win. And we made a lot of money with the Boston Celtics last year. I don't know how much, what the difference was between the Boston Celtics and the Memphis Grizzlies on the point spread and the team total over for the first quarter in the first half, but it was a lot of money made on the Boston Celtics last year. I'm just interested to see what the body language looks like, if this guy can keep command of his team, right? Because also one of the things to note was yesterday, you could see in Jaylen Brown's eyes how much he wanted to win, right? And that passion and that hunger typically leads you to want to get back, right? But we know, get back to the finals is what I mean. We know how much better the Eastern Conference got, right? So Kyrie and KD, although they got swept in the first round last year, they'll get a full year under their belt. KD requested out for the trade. If you watch the media day, he explained why. And it seems like they have a lot more camaraderie. I think Philly only got better, right? So these teams at the top, Milwaukee will get Middleton back, pretty early in the season, even though he's not expected to be there at the beginning. All of this translates into the Eastern Conference getting a tad bit better. And then, but the one thing I do think is that's important to know is the Brogdon part, right? So while everything seems like a negative for Boston, Brogdon is a huge piece, right? This guy is projected to come off the bench, because why would you blow up that starting lineup that was so successful last year? In his opening press conference, not the team media day, but in opening press conference when he was initially traded and when he first got to Boston, one of the questions that he was asked is, was he willing to take sacrifice? And he said, absolutely. I'm absolutely looking to sacrifice whatever it takes to win, right? One question about Brogdon is his availability. We know that Brogdon has been hurt in the past, right? He only averaged 49 games per season with the Pacers over the last 2 years. And granted, some of that was, due to tanking, the Pacers tanking last year away and him not playing to get some of the other guys minutes. But he has struggled with back issues. Some of that is real, So all of these things will be extremely interesting as the season progresses. the expectation for this team will clearly be a championship or bust. And that's going to be extremely difficult without somebody like Udoka. I think we all can agree, first year there, just a true testament to a hardworking guy who commands a team and can, be the ultimate motivator. He's a player coach because, of course, he played in the league for San Antonio for many years. So it's going to be interesting. Last season, this team finished 51-31. They finished first in the Atlantic Division. Their projected win total on Caesars and DraftKings was 54.5 the last time I checked. That might have come down since the Udoka stuff has happened. And this year, their strength of schedule is 21st. So that's 21st most difficult schedule, or you could say the 9th easiest schedule. So not a lot, as far as schedule-wise, that's going to, be too difficult for them to overcome when you look at the 9th best schedule. The NBA also implemented a policy where no teams has to play as many back-to-backs. I can't remember exactly how many it was. No many teams have to play a certain amount of back-to-backs throughout the season, although some teams still have a maybe one or two more than others. But this Boston Celtics team is still pretty young. I look for them to, kind of limit Al Horford minutes and just use him more so for the playoffs and kind of ramp him up towards the end of the season. Jaylen Brown is extremely young. Jason Tatum, crazy to think, this kid is only 24 years old with all he did last year, making NBA first team, career high in rebounds and three-pointers made and points and assists. So all of those things, you bring back a guy that's a dog on defense like Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, Time Lord, he will eventually be there. I'm interested to hear what you guys think on this win total. I think that it's probably about right, which doesn't. I'm also scared to take it because I want to see how this team, just how they move based on Udoka not being there. But I do think that they still have all the right pieces, right? If the coach can push the right buttons to get the most out of this team, then of course they could win 55 games. But that's a big if without Udoka being there for the course of the whole season. How much of a distraction will that bring on this team? They had to answer a lot of questions about that yesterday during media day. So, I think they may still be in a bit of shock. One thing I think to note, and I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna let my guy Finesse talk. One thing I think that's interesting to note, though, and what I've been watching with these NBA, with just these NBA teams kind of reflecting upon last year, is that when these things happen, you just kind of got to you kind of get hit with the blows, and then you kind of got to keep moving. You don't get time to reflect on the things that impact you when they're impacting you until after the season, right? So I thought about Kyrie and watching his interview when he talked about turning down $100 million because he wasn't unvaccinated. I'm thinking about KD and what his thoughts were as this team didn't meet his expectations. So what I'm thinking as it relates to this team and Udoka not being there, and this news coming out so close to the start of the season, is will they get a chance to really absorb all of it, process all of it, to know that they won't have their coach there, and they were really, really looking to make a run back to the NBA Finals? Because you still have all the talent, but like I said, the right buttons will need to be pressed, because the NBA season is 82 games. And at the course of 82 games, you're going to find yourself in some adversity, right? How do you respond to that adversity? Not having your leader is not the greatest thing to be missing. So, well, it is the greatest thing to be missing, even though the skill's there. So those are my thoughts and my sentiments on the Boston Celtics. Finesse, talk to me a little bit about your guys in green, man. What do you anticipate for this team?
Ooh, you said a lot of great shit. I think a lot of what you said is spot on. A lot of the same ideas I had about my team and shit like that. Tough, obviously, emotional roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? I was happy where we got. Obviously, made it super far. I really thought we had a legitimate chance to win it all. And I mentioned, all throughout that run, I was just excited for the future. You know what I'm saying? Guys are still young. We got a good coach. You know what I'm saying? Just super excited for the future. And that's now. Obviously, with the news, Ime, there's a lot of people saying Ime is kind of just an extension of the front office, an extension of Brad Stevens. And while that may be true, I think he just really connected with the guys. You know what I'm saying? I think that's super, super valuable with a young core like that. So yeah, it's going to be tough. I think we have. That's what I'm saying. Like looking at a win total, even predicting the year is just so tough.
Mm-hmm.
It was so close to the season. Just putting a new guy in there. Obviously, Udoka helped the defense a lot. I'm curious to see how we come out on defense, if our schemes are going to be the same, if we're going to be as stifling as we were for the second half of the year. It's going to be super interesting. We have so much talent. That run right from the beginning of the playoffs kind of put the spotlight on us, the public spotlight, especially for 4-0 the Nets right out the gate. So it's easy to say, everybody was saying, oh, we need a point guard, and we got a point guard, which is great. But we're just so talented. Our core guys are going to get so much better, going to continue to get better. Obviously, I think we're going to make the playoffs. How far we go is yet to be determined. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot to kind of figure out. I definitely think it's going to be tough, but still super excited. Not the best all season, right? Not ideal. But I think we're going to be fine. We have so much talent. I love Brogdon. Like you said, the 3-and-D guy can 3-level scorer. You know what I'm saying? I think just perfect for what we got going on. Marcus Smart to play more off of the ball and things like that. Rob Williams is getting to the point where it's getting kind of concerning, right? I'm hoping he takes his time off and he's fully good, but the injuries and, like you said, the extension of the time off is definitely worrisome. It's been a minute now since the man's been completely healthy. So I hope we're not done making moves, especially on the front line. But yeah, a lot of talent. I think we'll still cover a lot of spreads. I think we'll smoke a lot of teams. I think we're third or fourth in the East. I really do think that, like you said, our teams are going to get better. The Cavs, obviously, with the splashy offseason, teams like that. I still picture ourselves number 3 or number 4 in the East. I think we can, make it. It's just a lot to be seen going in. So I hope we're not done making trades. But, yeah, very, very interesting offseason. Very interesting season coming up. Super excited to watch my boys. At the end of the day, we still have probably the best young core in the game. So, coaching aside and all of that drama, that's still a fact. So super excited to watch. And yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, Finesse, we definitely agree on a lot, bro. And I love how objective you are. You always you've always said that. The quote from Finesse is always, I'm a reasonable guy. And I love it. I love it, Finesse. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Vanessa is definitely a reasonable guy. We know how much he back his he back his green guys, man, for sure. Real quick in the YouTube comments, NBA Prop says going to be a wait and see for me to see how Brogdon fits with Smart and Tatum. One thing is for sure, Brogdon handling will result in less turnovers. That's a fact, NBA Props. Malcolm protects the ball a lot better than what they had before the trade. We still remember those finals for sure. Better catch and shoot player, scores off the dribble, finishes with both hands, Swiss Army knife of sorts. That's a fact. We still talking about Brogdon. Also, when Finesse was talking about Brogdon, I forgot, Brogdon is a 50-40-90 guy too. 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. That's something to take into consideration as well when we talk about effectiveness. But it's really the injury, right? And Finesse brought up another interesting point that I forgot to mention as well. That front line, right? We know what the heavy at guard now because you bring back Derek White as well. They have enough guards, but do they have enough to protect the paint? Because when teams see Robert Williams outside of the lineup, then you're putting a lot of pressure on a guy that is a vet, your vet's vet, and a guy like Al Horford, right? So reassuring that front line is going to be interesting, especially when you lose a guy like Gallinari. He wasn't really there for his defense, but you're still losing a guy that could could buy in and bring in to your team. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think there are still some guys that's still out there. I'm interested to see if they sign even somebody like Dwight Howard to a league minimum deal throughout the season, just so they don't put enough. Just so they don't have to overexert a guy like Al Horford, because that frontline defense is going to be interesting. A lot of, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, these guys are really good ball defenders, are really good on-ball defenders. But when you have Robert Williams back there, he covers up a lot of mistakes. He's definitely a big splash of paint, to a little mark that's on the wall. So he covered up a lot of things for this team, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do defensively without him being there to start the season. Where the bookmakers set the lines. I know that the first game they will be hosting the Philadelphia 76ers. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play team defense against Embiid. I think that's going to be interesting. LJ, real quick, LJ from H-Town. What up, Chris? The Celtics coach situation is similar to Mark Jackson with Golden State. Smells fishy. Do the Celtics want a black coach to get the credit for success? Oh, man. It is Beantown we talking about here, but I ain't going to touch that, LJ. I ain't going to touch that one. I'll leave that to you, LJ. But yeah, anybody else got thoughts on the Boston Celtics, man? Definitely request up or drop them over on the YouTube chat. And let me know what you guys think. And real quick, I want to double back to something. Taylor, I don't know if you're still here in the YouTube section. Taylor said, Chris, when will you dropping all your team total plays? So Taylor, I'm thinking about doing a write-up with all of them, maybe like a quick paragraph, because I mean people can go back and watch the YouTube videos, but maybe a quick paragraph on why I'm taking each projected win total that I'm locking in, and then putting them in, right? And I need to go ahead and do that because we know that these projected totals are moving too. A lot of people don't, necessarily want to play future tickets, which is totally fine, right? But if you can see a big enough gap, right? We always talk about sports betting. You got to find an edge. If you can find a big enough edge to where you think this team, is going to go over because of X, Y, and Z, or you think they're going to go under because of A, B, and C, then, it's a good time to go ahead and make some money, make some early money, put that money in. And hopefully, you can get it at a good price. The crazy thing is I've only been doing projected win totals and teams to win a division if they're relevant, right? But, there's so many other markets. Shout out to, to Impulse. He came on and we were talking about Harden to lead the league in assists this year. People to win defensive player of the year, comeback player of the year, MVP, rookie of the year. So it's so many other markets, and I don't even tap into all of those different things, but I do like these projected win totals. And some of them I just feel like I'm really, really confident in. So I'm gonna put, maybe a unit and a half on some of these projected win totals because I feel like it's money in the bank to start the season off. And if you got a bankroll for it, I would definitely suggest you to do it as well. Based on my analysis or your own or whatever, because these could be the things that if we predict the season the right way, we can make some early money on these teams to win the division, the conference, their win totals under whatever the case might be. So definitely wanted to address that real quick from Taylor in the YouTube comments as well. My guy Zay is in the building. What up, Zay? Talk to me a little bit about what you I appreciate you being here, bro. Talk to me a little bit about what you think about the Boston Celtics year. What you thinking about them?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you get.
I like Boston. I like them.
Hey, Zay, you breaking up a little bit. If you can hear me, I can't hear you anymore. Start over, Zay. Start over. You broke up a little bit.
I said, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, I was saying I like Boston. I see them finishing top 5 in the East. The sticky situation with the Ime and all that stuff they got going on, but I think they got the right veteran leadership with Al Horford and Marcus Smart to bring it all together.
Yeah.
So and you made a good point too about picking up Dwight. I think that would be a huge pickup. Especially since you said Rob Williams is gonna be out 2-3 months.
Yeah, 2 to 3 months is what their projected projection is. That last time I saw that was like maybe 3 days ago, sometime over the weekend, maybe on Friday.
And I'm thinking when he does come back, he may be on minutes restriction.
Yeah, more than likely. Yep, they'll integrate him back slowly. Yep,
maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I was Boston, I would pick up Dwight, and then you just rock out. Because picking up Malcolm Brogdon was probably one of the biggest pickups in the offseason for real.
Absolutely. Definitely an underrated sign, Zay.
Yeah, for real. If they can click and keep their mind straight and clear of all the bullshit that's going on the outside, they can make another deep run. It's going to be difficult because if Milwaukee stays healthy, Philly stays healthy, and James Harden can get past his playoff demons, then they go. Hey, look. Don't get me. Hey, James Harden's a hell of a player, but we all know that he got playoff demons when the lights get bright.
That's a fact. You can't argue that, Zay. You right.
So, yeah. Oh, but Chris, I had one question. Like, I heard you say something about strength of schedule. Like, how do they determine the NBA's strength of schedule if every NBA team plays each other at least twice a year?
They do it by it's a mathematical equation where they factor in the teams that you have to play and their average their win percentage from last year, and then they also factor in the location. So of course teams are typically play better at home than they do on the road, and they factor in rest as well. So if you're playing on the second night of a back-to-back and you're playing against the Oklahoma City Thunder, then that's not going to be as bad as if you're playing on the second night of a back-to-back and you got to play against the Philadelphia 76ers or the Boston Celtics or the Golden State Warriors. So they pretty much saying that you're gonna lose that game when they factor it into your schedule, and then they just take all of it and they break it up and put it into an equation. And it's easy to find too. So you just go on Google and type in NBA strength of schedule, and it'll give you the whole breakdown of how everything's determined. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
Oh yeah, because I never realized the NBA really did a strength of schedule since everybody's gonna play each other at least twice.
Yeah, but you got to think like a team like Oklahoma City Thunder was the third worst team in the league last year, and when
they played the Lakers,
right. Hey, look, we ain't gonna go there, Zay. We gonna relax with that one, bro.
Hey, look, man. Hey, I was shocked and surprised and hurt by it too. I was like, man, yo, come on, we can't beat OKC.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, bro. But when you think about Oklahoma City, and you think about just how bad they were last year, and then who they have to play this year, them already being projected not to win a lot of games, it's real easy to determine why a team like them will have the most difficult strength of schedule versus a team like the Spurs, not the Spurs, because they got a difficult strength of schedule too based on their roster. But a team like Golden State or a team like Milwaukee, I think the Clippers got the easiest strength of schedule, getting Kawhi back. So yeah, all those things kind of go into factor.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you requesting up, Zay. I think we aligned on Boston for the most part. I love what Finesse had to say. I think what you chimed in with was also helpful too, Zay. And that's really all I got, man. I don't see anybody else rushing up to request, so I'm cool with it being a short show today. If you missed any of these, definitely like I said, go back, check out the YouTube. There are team previews for every team in the NBA minus the Orlando Magic, the Phoenix Suns, the Houston Rockets, and the Miami Heat. And those teams will be done over the next 2 days. Tomorrow, tap back in with me. I'm going to talk about the Orlando Magic and the Phoenix Suns. Definitely don't want to miss the Phoenix Suns. And then on Thursday, I'll talk about the Houston Rockets and the Miami Heat. And that'll be it. And like I said, on Friday, preseason starts, man. It's 21 days until NBA. I tweeted it out earlier. Extremely excited to make some money and put some plays in to start the season. If you guys and that's literally all I got for you guys today. So like I said, appreciate you guys for being here as always, man. If you're on YouTube, definitely like the video, share the video. Definitely just helps the channel grow. Appreciate you guys for all the love and support as always. And I'm out, man. Best of luck on your MLB best tonight, and we'll tap back in tomorrow.